All right, I think we're going to get started. There's so many people here who are integral to this, and so we're just trying to get everybody up at the podium because this is really a result of kind of definitely a group effort and really in many ways a community effort. So yesterday, City Council and Mayor Ginther joined together to unveil our proposed 2018 capital budget, which funds improvements to roads, fire stations, water, sewer infrastructure, and more. But this year's budget also includes a special collaboration between the city and the schools, which is why we're all here today. Capital investments should always boil down to what makes our city more livable. Each day, thousands of our city's youth make their way to school. Some take a school bus or a COTA bus, some get a ride from family, but others make their way on foot. In fact, they're required to due to state busing regulations. And to those students, our city's sidewalks are especially critical. Getting to school safely is the first step in creating a healthy learning environment where students can thrive. If we want students to be able to walk in the door ready to learn, we need them to be able to get to the door without anxiety for their own safety. That's why today we're proposing $2.5 million within the 2018 capital improvement budget to fund prioritized school sidewalk projects. Those are Lincoln Park Elementary School and South High School, Livingston Elementary School, Highland Elementary School, West Broad Elementary School, and Independence High School. In addition to these projects, the Department of Public Service is pursuing a $400,000 Safe Routes to School grant to cover sidewalk installations at Eakin Elementary School. That's through the Ohio Department of Transportation. So in total, that's nearly $3 million on 6 projects. Each year when Council passes the annual capital budget, we also adopt a capital plan, encapsulating priority investments for the next 5 years. Thanks to the hard work of Director Gallagher and the Department of Public Service, our 5-year plan will include $2.5 million per year to continue work on these sidewalk installations. Director Gallagher will go into more detail regarding the process her team used. But identifying these schools, these 6 school areas, I want to emphasize was collaborative. It was a joint team of City of Columbus departments and Columbus City schools and the community, including public service and public health from the city. So we can replicate this model as we continue to identify priority areas for school sidewalk installations in the future. All sidewalk installations make neighborhoods more pedestrian friendly, but school sidewalks in particular are especially significant because they help keep our students safe on their way to and from school every single day. Now I want to get back to those students. Shayana and Naziara, please come join me. I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. These students came down to City Council a little less than a year ago after going through the process of identifying school sidewalks as a priority outside their school. They used their voices, they advocated for their community, and it was a real pleasure and privilege to hear that advocacy loud and clear and incorporate it into the work that we're doing in this year's capital budget. I will turn it over to you, ladies.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Naziara Jones, and I'm a senior at Independence High School. First off, I would like to thank Councilmember Elizabeth Brown and President Hardin for listening to the voices of us young people. It doesn't happen very often, but has happened more recently than I've seen it before. My classmates and I that are on this project have walked up and down Refugee Road to know exactly where the issue lies. We've driven up and down No-Bixby Road to see the sidewalks or the lack thereof. On that drive, we saw memorials for people who have lost their lives walking that road, and that's what made us push harder for these sidewalks. So the memorial we saw didn't become our classmate or our friend. It has been brought to my attention that we, Independence High School, didn't meet the criteria of receiving the sidewalks, but because we lobbied them, Councilmember Elizabeth Brown and President Hardin worked on making it happen. Not only will it be more safe for the students that walk and attend Independence High School, but also the students that walk and attend Liberty Elementary School. I'm very excited and grateful to be a part of a huge change, not only for my school or the community, but for generations to come. So I would like to thank you on behalf of Independence High School, Liberty Elementary School, and the community surrounding. Shay.
Hello, I'm Shayana Hinklemore, and I'm a junior at Independence High School. Once again, Naziara and I, we're only two of a team of 4 girls who are working on this project for our school. Aishelle Gaston and Shamir Chung both were working with us, and unfortunately neither one of them could be with us today. But we've been working on this, like she said, for a little less than a year now, but we've gone through a lot, and we'd like to thank City Council and those who've been working behind the scenes to help us get this project and get our work on getting the sidewalk started. We'd like to emphasize that this will save lives. It's not just about like the now and the students who are in our area now, but it's for the students that are becoming in the future, our little brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews. This is important. And we'd like to say thank you, and is glad to know that City Council in our great city of Columbus is actually listening to youth, because today, like in our nation, sometimes people don't want to listen to our youth when we're trying to speak up, and it's very important, and we really appreciate that. We know that our city cares about what their youth have to say. And I'd like to hand it back over to Councilmember Brown.
Another hand for these young ladies. And I also want to say, when I got here and got to talk to them again, I hadn't seen them since their initial advocacy last year, and they peppered me with questions. They had a lot of really great questions about how will this work, when will this work, and I love that. I love that you're holding us accountable. Thank you. Next, I would like to turn the microphone over to my colleague, Emmanuel Remy, who is the chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee, and when his term started in January, dug in immediately on where can we make a difference for our schools. And I so appreciated that automatic and initial partnership, and thrilled to have your support and really partnership in the process, as I said.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I also want to give a special thank you to Principal Stacey Harris McCarthy, the teachers and the students at Livingston Avenue Elementary School for hosting us this morning. Hopefully they're enjoying a very nice spring break as it starts to wrap down. I know this because my wife is a teacher, and I know that there's only a few days left. But I especially want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Liz Brown, who was really the champion for this initiative. She listened to our priorities. I was glad to partner with her, and a few of us got together and talked about how important this was. She listened to those priorities, and she sat down with the mayor's team to make sure that these were a high priority, and of course Director Gallagher was a big part of it. As the former president of the Northland Community Council, I know what it's like to sit on the other side of the process. So, you know, the advocacy for things like school sidewalks and school speed zones, that sort of thing. I'm very happy to see what we were able to accomplish this time being on this side of the fence, and to know that there was so much thought and diligence put in to making sure that there are not only pedestrian safety improvements, but also a safe pathway to school. So in addition, I'd also like to point out that there is about $50,000 allocated to school speed limit signs, which I found out this morning we'll be able to install 13 of those. But we also have some additional monies that we can use in a case-by-case basis to ensure that not only do we have the sidewalks, but we have the proper crossing zones around our schools as well. Having and improving sidewalks not only helps us to achieve our goal of creating safe routes to school, but it also provides safe passage for our families, our seniors, and other pedestrians who will also benefit from these projects. So I appreciate your time today, and I'd like to turn it over to the chair of my committee, or I'm sorry, the director of my committee, Director Jennifer Gallagher.
Well, good morning. It's very exciting for us to be here today to talk about this wonderful partnership with City Council, Public Health, Columbus City Schools, and really to recognize the champion of all this, Councilmember Liz Brown. We really do appreciate that. As Councilmember Brown mentioned, I'm here to talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts that happen behind the scenes to make these types of decisions. Factors such as the high school density, the percentage of students who walk to school, as well as the Columbus City School travel plan were used to prioritize the key areas of need. Other factors included mobility and access to transit, destinations of interest, what else is in the area, such as community rec centers, health centers, parks, sidewalk gaps, of course, and then public input. So out of all of that, we were able to come up with the locations that Councilmember Liz Brown mentioned, those being in the Hilltop, Highland Elementary, and West Broad Elementary. On the south side, it's Lincoln Park Elementary and Livingston Avenue, and then on the southeast side, Independence High School, as we have mentioned. This year's investment will work to support the design process for these target areas, and then once we get through the design process, as Councilmember Liz Brown said, there will be money in future budget requests to move forward with any right-of-way purchases that need to be made or construction of those projects. And after we're done here, myself and Maria are both here. We can happy to answer any questions, give any more details. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to Councilmember Liz Brown.
Thank you, Director. And so in closing, I want to give our schools the chance to talk because, again, this is really this is a partnership. We have, in addition to the city school staff that I identified who's here, we have two school board members who've joined us, Dominic Peretti and Vice President Michael Cole. And this only works if we've got the schools at the table and the city at the table when we're making these budget allocation decisions. So, Vice President Cole, could you please close us out?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you, Councilwoman Brown. Thank you, Columbus City Council. And more importantly, thank you all of our partners who came together to make this happen. Let me first and foremost start by saying that I am incredibly thankful. And I'm incredibly thankful because I remember, I want to say it might have been 2007, when we lost a child on the west side to some sort of curb accident where a child was hit. And the city at that time made a commitment to use capital development dollars to build sidewalks. And at that point in time, it was Mayor Coleman who kicked that off. I'm glad to see that there's some folks who have institutional knowledge, some folks who have a continued commitment to ensuring that we're safer together, walking to school. And let me explain how this affects Columbus City Schools just from a student standpoint. It's not even just a matter of safely getting to school. These are helping our key indicators along: attendance, student achievement, things like that help promote this. Because when our kids get to school safer, they're in school safely, and we're able to convene a day where our kids get the most out of that day, and they get the most out of their experiences with us. So I am glad and excited and thankful that we have a strong partnership that's about proactive government. This is what makes government work. This is why all of us have made such a commitment to being servant leaders in the city of Columbus. Because when you have smart government, you have safe government, you have safer communities, and definitely safer children. I also, in closing, want to thank our partners from, just give me a moment, forgive me for that. You have these brain freezes. You know, I'm 45, I'm getting old. I definitely want to thank Service Above Self, because this is one of the things that actually got our students engaged and involved in this process. Service Above Self has been a strong partner of ours for years, and I thank them as well. God bless you all, and thank you so much again.